guys, it's Jen. Welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another day of Vlogmas. Today is Vlogmas day 30, so we've got one more day to go. So make sure you come back tomorrow for the final video. But I have the day off today and I thought I would try to get some things done that I've been needing to do around the house. So I'm hoping for a very productive day. I took some time last night to make a list of what I needed to do. Some of these things have to be done today and some of them don't, but I need to prioritize in order to make sure that I get everything done on time. I need to pay some bills. I need to make a trip to Goodwill to drop off some donations. I need to pick up a prescription. I want to clean my garden downstairs and harvest some greens. There is a package I need to mail and some documents I need to review for my business, and I'm sure there are some other things that I want to get done also, but for now it is 9:45 in the morning. I slept in a little bit this morning. I really need to get my sleeping schedule back on track because I have been staying up too late and sleeping in too late, and tomorrow, or not tomorrow, next week when I go back to work, it's going to be very difficult for me if I can't get my sleep in check, so we need to work on that too. But I think right now I'm gonna go downstairs, clean up the kitchen a little bit, and see if the kids want some breakfast. Okay, so I'm making Connor breakfast right now. Kira usually doesn't eat breakfast, and if she does, she grabs like a granola bar or a cheese stick or something like that. But he wanted one of these breakfast bowls that I got from Aldi. They're the Jimmy Dean ones, and so I just made him some toast on the side with butter. So look at me, gourmet cook, Jimmy Dean breakfast bowl and some toast on the side. So while he was eating that, I went ahead and cleaned up the kitchen. One of my goals for 2020, which I've talked about a little bit in previous videos, is to just get rid of some of the clutter in my house. I don't think it's terribly bad, but I just know that I have a ton of stuff in my kitchen cabinets that I'm not using regularly, and so I need a better way of organizing them and getting rid of some stuff. So if you guys want a good documentary to watch, I forget what it's called, but it's like a minimalism documentary on Netflix. I actually just watched it today and I thought it was pretty good. It kind of reminds me of Marie Kondo when I listened. I actually didn't read her book. I listened to it on Audible, but it does really make you think about what you have in your house and is it serving a purpose? And I would like to get to the point where I don't just have like needless clutter all around everywhere, because I truly do think that when you have clutter in your house, it makes your mind cluttered. And I have noticed that this weekend, especially since getting my office reorganized, that I feel so much better when I come up here to do things, and I feel so much more productive. So now I am loading the dishwasher. I always get a ton of questions when I put my Instant Pot lid in the top rack of the dishwasher, and yes, you can do it. I have done it for years and I've never had an issue. I just take the sealing ring out and the vent top off and run it through the dishwasher and it works just fine. Now I'm going to hand wash some dishes. I had a ton to get done. I am ready for the kids to go back to school here after Christmas break. That way people aren't home 24/7 making all kinds of dishes for me to wash. But you can see I'm wearing my rubber gloves here, which I've been enjoying lately. You can get the water so much hotter, and especially if you have a ton of dishes to power through, I just think it makes it easier to do that. All right, so it's several hours later and I'm going to make lunch now. So I am making yet another gourmet meal. I know you guys come to my channel for a gourmet meal inspiration, so I gotta keep it real. But for lunch, I am making a fruit salad and some taquitos in the air fryer. Go me. So I just have some grapes in a bowl there that I had washed a couple days prior, and I'm peeling up a couple of, I can't talk, cutie oranges and sectioning those into the bowl, and then I'm also going to cut up some apples and put those in there as well. I think I'm finally getting through the massive backlog of apples that I've had in my house. I had like I don't know how I got so many. Well, actually, I do know. I did a video with Rocket Apple a few weeks back, and so I had some from them, and then I had some from Imperfect Foods, but we've been using them up slowly but surely. My kids love them as snacks. So here is gourmet lunch. We had some taquitos. Those are from Aldi, and then some fruit salad on the side. So nice and easy there. So this wasn't on my list to do this weekend, but I still had that sugar cookie dough in the refrigerator that I had made on Christmas Eve, and I wanted to get that used up. I didn't want it to go to waste, and so I pulled out all of my Christmas cookie cutters. I am going to make the icing for the sugar cookies, and then I'll go ahead and bake the sugar cookie dough, and then the kids will help me decorate them. So I will link both the sugar cookie recipe and the icing recipe down below if I can find it. This is the recipe that I've been using for years, and it works perfectly every time. The frosting recipe just uses meringue powder and powdered sugar and water. That's it. And you basically just whip this until it sort of increases in volume, and you can adjust this icing to the thickness or thinness that you want it just by adding more water or more powdered sugar. This is also a recipe where you can make some of the icing thicker and sort of like pipe it onto the edge of the cookie, and then make some of the icing thinner and use it to like flood the inside of the design. If you've watched sugar cookie decorating videos, you know what I'm talking about, but I kind of just make it somewhere in the middle. I sort of make the icing like a spreadable consistency, and it hardens up really well, and it's really easy for kids to handle. So I'm just rolling out my dough, and I do make a double batch of the dough and then just a single batch of the icing, and that seems to work out well. This dough is actually made with powdered sugar and butter, and then it also has some almond extract in it, which makes it really good. But I always love making sugar cookies. I need to make them more often. It always seems like I just make them at Christmas, but honestly, it would be a good cookie idea for any holiday. Not too long ago, I also got one of these French rolling pins, which I have never had one of those before. I've always had the kind that sort of have the little handles on the end. So I'll link the one I got below down on Amazon. It does take a little bit of getting used to, but I am enjoying it. So these just bake in a 375-degree oven for about 8 to 10 minutes until they're very lightly browned on the bottom. And these are my favorite tasting sugar cookies because they have that almond extract in them. So makes them really, really good. So now that my frosting is done whipping, I am going to separate it into 4 bowls and dye these individually. You can use whatever colors you want. I would recommend using the gel dye rather than the liquid food coloring, because the liquid can change the consistency of the icing. But I just stirred that in there, and then once the cookies were done, I removed those to a rack. You want to make sure that you cool them completely before you go to ice them, otherwise the warm cookies will make the icing melt. Okay, so I'm gonna call the kids down here to decorate cookies. It's 1:15, but look at this cute reindeer cookie. So this came in a decorating kit that I think I got it at Farm and Fleet, but it came with all these little like antlers and eyeballs and little noses and bow ties. But how cute is that? So cute. So here are the cooled cookies, and then I have tons of different colored sprinkles. I have some Christmas sprinkles, some of the squeeze icing, some gel. I'm probably gonna dump these out in a dish. These I think I got at Aldi last year. And then this is all of the icing. So I just have white, green, blue, and red. And then I also made some brown for the reindeers. Wow. He has big eyes.
I don't know what else to add. Yeah, on the
buttons.
Yeah.
Here's how our cookies turned out. So cute, as always. I love the reindeer ones. So far, today could have been more productive, but we made cookies, so that was important. So I have about, I don't know, 30 minutes before I have to leave to take the kids over to swim practice, and I want to be able to drop them off and then run to Goodwill and take the stuff that I need to take there. I want to do that obviously before the end of the year, because get your donations in 2020 so you can write it off on your taxes, right? So I need to itemize this stuff and then get that downstairs into my vehicle. And I was gonna mail a package, but I'm not sure I'm gonna have time to pack it up, so we'll see. And then I also need to stop and pick up a prescription also. All right, so I got all my Goodwill stuff packed up. I'm just gonna put some of these cookies on this cake plate so they don't go stale. I also have frosting on my shirt. Okay, so I just dropped the kids off at swim. I'm going to attempt to drop off the Goodwill stuff and pick up prescriptions in the time that they're at swim practice. Obviously, I would love to get a coffee, but I probably don't have time. I probably don't have time for that today, but I would love to. I do have my LaCroix here, so I'm good on drinks. Okay, we'll see what we can do. We're gonna have to go into Walgreens because there's like 7 cars in the drive-thru. I always imagine that it must be super hard to drive a Mustang in in snow and ice, and I'm like, I don't know why you have that car in the Midwest, but you know, to each their own. So this actually took me a lot less time than I thought. I'm like winning here. So I dropped the Goodwill stuff off. I got the prescription at Walgreens. I even have time to get a coffee, and I might even have time to check my P.O. box. Like, what? I know, crazy. These parking lots and roads are not quite ideal yet. We had, I don't exactly know how much snow we had yesterday, but if I had to guess, it was probably at least 6 inches is what we had at our house. And then after the snow came the freezing rain. So now there is not only snow on the ground, but there's a hard crust of ice on everything. And it just makes walking through the icy parking lots interesting. And of course driving for the streets that haven't been cleared off yet. But that was funny. I went in there and I was like, they're like, do you have a mobile order? And I said, yeah. What's your name, Jennifer? She's like, oh, yeah, you are the flat white Jennifer. I was like, oh, so now I'm known as the flat white Jennifer. She's like, yeah, we have several different Jennifers who are regulars. And I said, well, yeah, I think I've gotten their drink a time or two before on accident. That one time I went through the drive-thru and got a mobile order, and it was like a peppermint mocha with a bunch of syrup in it, and I was like, I tried, but I can't do this. Anyway, I'm not the kind of person to like complain and go back, and like I just don't, I don't know, I'm not that kind of person. So okay, I got 20 minutes before I gotta pick the kids up, so that gives me just enough time to drive by my P.O. box. Then we can go home and make dinner. I'm making sausage and shells in the Instant Pot. Okay, so here's an update. I did not end up cooking dinner. I was waiting for the kids to get out of swim practice, and I'm like, you know, by the time we get home, it's gonna be after 6, and then, you know, the Instant Pot isn't really instant. Like, it's probably gonna take me 40 minutes to cook dinner. And I was like, by then the kids are gonna be starving. It's gonna be almost 7 o'clock. And so I decided, you know what, we're gonna get Subway, and that's fine. I need to look at my schedule for next week because they are going to go back to practicing in 2 different like age groups since Kira's 3 years older. And so I don't know, it's just such a challenge the nights that they have practice, because I can't really plan to cook anything that has to be like cooked and eaten right away. Like I have to either plan like slow cooker dinners or something that I can make in like 10 minutes. So yeah, stay tuned for my next meal plan. I'll have to figure that out. But anyway, we got Subway. It is about 8 o'clock now, and I am going to work on cutting up some I have some scrapbook papers and kits here. I know I've talked about this before, but for those of you who haven't followed me on social media for, you know, years and years, I used to be work basically as a contract worker in the scrapbooking industry, and over the 6 to 7 years that I did that, I was on many different design teams. And so because of that, I have a ton of product, like scrapbooking product. And I actually just found this bin in my closet like a couple months back, and it was from when I was on the American Crafts and crepe paper design teams. And when I was on the design team, they would send us like 5 of everything. So I kept a lot of this stuff. I don't know why. A lot of this stuff was still when we lived in our old house, and we've been in this new house for well, over 3 years now. So anyway, what I'm saying is I have a lot of stuff to go through, and I have some friends that will take part of it. And then I'll have to figure out what I'm gonna do with the rest of it. But like some of these papers, I wanna keep. Like I still like the patterns. It doesn't matter to me that they're, you know, older. You know, they're probably, well, this one's from, yeah, like these papers are from 2015. Like, I don't care. But what I'm gonna do is cut them down into 6x8 sheets of paper, because it's more manageable for me to store them that way. And normally when I scrapbook, I don't use large, like I don't use a whole 12x12 sheet of pattern paper. That's not how I scrapbook. So having it cut down into more manageable pieces will be good. And then I can also share some of it with my friends. So that's what I'm gonna work on now. And I don't know, we'll see what else we can get done tonight. So all I'm doing here is I just positioned myself on the floor and took a seat and proceeded to cut all of this paper up. When you cut a 12x12 sheet of pattern paper into 2 6x8s, you do have a little bit of waste, but I am fine with that. Again, I have so much product that it's really overwhelming at times. And I think if you're a crafter, you know the feeling of just having too much product and not being able to create just because you have so much choice. I think sometimes it's better to have less choice, but I do donate a lot of this product. I think I've mentioned that before. For the stuff that I don't want, if it's damaged, I don't donate it. I do discard that or throw it away or recycle it. But for the materials that aren't damaged, I do donate those to the local YMCA. They have an after school program, and especially when my kids used to go there, they were so appreciative to get those craft supplies, because even just the different pattern papers, the kids have a ton of fun making cards with them. So here was all that paper that I cut up. I'm going to keep some and give some to friends. All right, so status update. I have a trash bag full of things there that I have tossed. I'm still in the process of kind of sorting this stuff out. Here is more stuff that I've tossed. I went through all of these papers and decided which ones that I wanted to keep whole, and then some of them a lot of them actually, I cut into 6x8 chunks of paper just because it's easier to store those. And then I also had a bag of, like, not a bag, but I had these not organized anywhere, just like some work keepsakes, like different certificates and notes and cards and photos and awards and stuff that I've had from work. So these are in this bag, and I'm just going to store this. I don't know if I'll ever put them in a scrapbook or anything, but I just wanted to have them all together. And these bags are from Studio Calico, which I have like so many of them from being on their design team a while back. But I think you can buy something similar to these on Amazon. I'll try to find them and link them down below, but they're awesome for organizing memorabilia like this. And then I brought a bunch of stuff home from work. Not a bunch, but you know, like some different books and things. And like I was studying for the CPHQ exam. I don't know if I'm still going to do that. I probably will. And then some notebooks and binders. So I still need to figure out how to organize all of this. But next I'm going to work on this pile over here. So what I'm doing right now is cleaning out a box that I had my supplies in for Week in the Life. Allie Edwards leads that project, and if you're familiar with sort of the scrapbooking, paper crafting world, you probably know who she is. But she does a project every year called Week in the Life, and basically you make a mini scrapbook or a mini book. I always use a 6x8 album out of all of the photos you take, and you basically just document your life for a week. It's one of my favorite projects just because, especially when you have young kids, they change so much and you don't even really realize it until you go back to look at your albums, and then you're like, oh man, like our routine was totally different, you know, 10 years ago or whatever the case is. So I do actually have a scrapbooking channel, which I'll link a video down below that I did on Week in the Life. It is a couple months old, but I'm hoping to post more scrapbooking and planning content on that channel this coming year. Hopefully I can carve some time out for that because it's definitely something that I miss. But anyway, what I was saying about Week in the Life was that when I'm working on a project like that, I like to keep everything in a bin together. So like all of the craft supplies, the album, all of the photos I print, all of the memorabilia I have, I just store it in like some type of plastic bin. And then I keep all of those supplies together until I'm done with the project. That way, whenever I want to work on it, all I have to do is pull out that bin and I have all my supplies right there. So another project you guys might be familiar with, if you're familiar with the paper crafting world, is December Daily. And that is another project where the intent is to document your December. So typically people do it like one page or one story per day in the month of December. And it's a really busy month to do it, especially for me, since now that I'm on YouTube more often, I typically do Vlogmas, which is a video a day, and there's no way that I can also keep up with that. But I probably have 5 or 6 December Daily albums that I've completed over the last 15 years, which I think is a pretty decent success rate. I'm not sure if I'm going to go back and do it for this December, but I do have my supplies organized. It's really nice to use these little embroidery containers, I think is what they're intended for, to organize embellishments. Hey guys, so it's the following day and I need to catch up with you. So it's actually about 3 o'clock in the afternoon on the very next day. So summary of last night, I stayed up way too late and I still didn't get everything in my office organized, but I'm like almost there. I'm very close. I can taste it. So since I stayed up so late, we slept in till 10 o'clock today, which is like unheard of, and now my sleep schedule is really messed up, but we're gonna get that back on track this weekend. So slept till 10. Adam and I had an appointment at the bank at 11, so we quick got ready and went to that. That took about an hour. Got home, made the kids lunch, cleaned up the kitchen, sat on the couch for a little while, watched TV. Now I'm working on cleaning out my garden, which was on my list from yesterday. So I need to do that. And then, oh, I also had on my list to read legal documents, which I also did. And then mail a package. So I think what we're gonna do is clean out the tank of the garden, harvest some greens, and then go mail the package. I think that's what we're gonna do. So really it's taken me 2 days to do this to-do list, but whatever. It is what it is. So I have this garden, which is basically a hydroponic system that you can grow veggies and greens and herbs indoors with. And I did a dedicated video on this, I think it was last month. So I'll link that video down below, as well as a link At one time I did have a $200 off coupon code, so I will check and see if that's still available, and if so, I will link it in the description box. But basically you are to take this garden apart about every month, 4 to 6 weeks they recommend, and clean out the tank. You can see kind of the residue in the bottom of there. It came off super easily. All I did was sprinkle the inside of the tank with baking soda, and I swished kind of some warm water in there and basically just scrubbed it out. It did not take as long or as much elbow grease as I thought it was going to. So now that I know how to do it, this is something that I'll probably be doing, like I said, every 4 to 6 weeks. So once it's all scrubbed out, I went ahead and filled it back up with cool water and then put some plant food in there. The tank is rather heavy once you get it filled up with water, but I was able with brute strength to drag it back over to the dining room. And this is basically an all-in-one system. You do have to kind of tend to the plants as far as like pruning them and, moving them around to make sure that they're growing properly and everything. But for someone that doesn't have a green thumb, I think that it's particularly helpful. It's pretty much a fuss-free system to grow herbs and greens, and I'm even growing some tomatoes and some peppers and jalapenos in my garden as well. So this badly needed to be harvested, and I ended up getting about 3 large Ziploc bags of greens out of this. Another thing with this is that they do have a Facebook page if you have questions, and I'm on that page, and so it's helpful to see how other people are using their greens and getting recipe ideas and things like that. But ever since I've had this, I have not had to buy lettuce or any type of greens at the grocery store. I have it right there. I can just clip it off, give it a wash, and we have a salad for dinner. It's super easy. I do think that these systems are quite an investment. However, I do think that over the long run, it will pay for itself, especially if you are someone who wants to increase your intake of salad or wants to eat more salad, or even if you already eat a lot of salad and you're just looking for a way to save money at the store. It's pretty cool. And especially if you live in like a highly urban environment, it could be beneficial too. So I'm washing some of the greens there. I washed these in about 3 or 4 batches. I did spin them dry in my salad spinner, but I wanted to make sure that they were super dry since I knew I would be storing them in the refrigerator, and wet on greens in the refrigerator makes for soggy greens, and you don't want that. So here were my bags of greens. I had 2 Ziploc bags. I stored those with paper towels on the inside, and then I also got one of my produce keeper containers as well. So here is what the garden looked like after I pruned everything and put it back in. It looks so much healthier, and we will have much more produce very soon to eat off of it. I've just clipped some basil from it and used that the other night for dinner. All right, so thankfully I got my garden cleaned out and all of my plants harvested. That is something I have been putting off, and it didn't actually take me as long as I thought it was going to, which is always good, right? I feel like that's sometimes the case. Like, we always think things are going to take a lot longer than they do. So I went to the post office. I mailed the package I needed to mail. I mailed a letter that I needed to mail, and now I'm in the drive-thru at Starbucks. It's 5 p.m. I gotta figure out what I'm making for dinner tonight. I think I'm gonna make a instant pot pasta that I was supposed to make last night and a salad and some bread. So that should be nice and easy. All right, so this is the recipe that I'm gonna make for dinner. It's out of this Milk Street Fast and Slow cookbook. I am gonna change it a little, not change it, but well, the method, I guess. So the way I'm reading this recipe, it doesn't want you to brown the Italian sausage, but I always think that's weird. Like, I would rather brown my meat. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that first and then just follow the recipe as directed. So I'm gonna start out by mincing up some garlic. I did get one of these garlic press mincer things for Christmas, and this is the first time that I've used it. I think that this is okay if you have a large volume of garlic that you need to mince. But if you just have a few cloves, I think I still prefer the traditional garlic press. So I did go ahead and decide to brown my Italian sausage, and it turned out fine. After I browned that up, I added the white wine, and I'm just going to deglaze the pan and scrape up the bits with a spoon, and my camera is going to fog up, but that's really the only thing I changed about that recipe was browning the sausage. So I also had these flatbreads in the refrigerator that I wanted to use up, and so I melted a little bit of this Chef Chamois garlic butter, which is delicious. I got that at Sam's Club, and I brushed it on the flatbread, and then I just sprinkled them with mozzarella cheese, and then we kind of had some cheesy flatbreads to go on the side of our pasta. So now that the sausage has deglazed, I'm going to pour in some crushed tomatoes. You just need 14.5 ounces. I only had a larger can, so I used half of that. And then I poured in some water, I think 3.5 cups of that, and then a pound of pasta. I'm using shell pasta, and then you just give that a stir. And I haven't made a instant pot pasta meal in a while, and I kind of forgot how easy it is. So this recipe is actually out of one of my cookbooks I think I shared before, so I don't think I can link to the recipe, but I think there are tons of recipes out there like this one, and then you only have to cook it for 3 minutes on manual pressure. When the pasta is done, it calls to stir in some cheese, and so I'm just grating up some Romano cheese, and then I'm going to make our salads. So I just have those greens that I harvested earlier, and I just like to tear those up into bite-sized pieces and put them in the salad bowls. Sometimes I make a large bowl of salad for everyone to kind of eat out of family style, but then sometimes I feel like it's easier just to use separate salad bowls as well. So I kind of do both. Next, I'm going to cut up some cherry tomatoes to put in there. I did end up just using like the Olive Garden salad dressing with these. And then we put some croutons on them and some shredded carrots and some Parmesan cheese. I wanted to put black olives on, but I didn't have any black olives at the time. I have been liking to buy shredded carrots as a quick addition to salads. They are delicious. So here is what those looked like, and I'm just going to set those to the side while I finish the pasta. So I'm sprinkling in some of that Romano cheese and then just giving that a stir. The only thing I had to add to this was it was a little bit acidic. And so I did add about a teaspoon of sugar to this recipe. That's something that I typically always do when I cook with tomato products. But here is what that turned out like. It was actually really good, and we ate it with the flatbread and the salad, and this was actually New Year's Eve. So now Connor and I are going to make some brownie sundaes.
Like this?
Okay, put 1 egg in there.
Okay.
Good job.
There's a white part in there, but it's not an egg.
It's not a shell? Okay, you can start stirring it up.
Do I like mash it up?
Yep. And put the water in.
The water? All of it?
Yep. Yep, and then pour the oil in. And pour the oil in.
Now stir it up. Do you think we need more water?
Nope.
Stir it up? I want to mash it a little bit. Alright. Oh, look, it's getting into chocolate. Isn't that cool? Turning into chocolate. Whoa, look it.
Stir it all up.
It tastes good. Now what?
And then you can pour it. Pour it in here. I'm gonna use this spout.
Spout like this?
Yep. Okay, so here's how those sundaes turned out. We just had the warm brownies with a scoop of vanilla ice cream and a cherry. Delicious. Hey guys, so I'm sitting here editing this video and I just realized I did not film an outro for it. So like I said, this video was filmed over 2 days, but I did want to show you that I did get everything checked off my to-do list, even if it did take me 2 days to do it. That is one thing that I've been trying to do the night before, and I've been sort of like watching a lot of like different planning and productivity videos on YouTube lately. Franklin Covey actually has a lot of great resources, and there are some other planners on YouTube that, you know, make videos talking about it. One of the things they recommend is to start planning the night before, which I obviously already know this, but it's something that I haven't put into practice until lately. And so it's something that has been helping me stay a little bit more productive. But here's the list that I started with. And as you can see, everything is checked off. I paid the bills that I needed to pay. I went to Goodwill. I picked up prescription. I cleaned and harvested the garden, which again was something that I was putting off. And it's one of those things that I thought it was going to be harder than it was. It really wasn't all that hard or time consuming. I cleaned up some of my crafting supplies, mailed a package. We had a meeting at the bank. I read over some legal documents that I needed to review. I just been putting it off for a while, and then I posted a video and also checked my PO box. So thank you guys so much for watching today. I hope that you have enjoyed Vlogmas. Again, we've got one more day tomorrow, and I think tomorrow's final day of Vlogmas is going to be a what's for dinner video, so you aren't going to want to miss that. We've got a ton of great dinner ideas for you guys, so I will see you tomorrow for the last day of Vlogmas. Bye.